Hello, my friends. Today's summary is full of excitement, horror, and action. We're going to tell the story of a young girl struggling after the death of her mother, who then gets kidnapped. Will she survive? Let's find out. The movie starts with a girl named Becky sitting at the police station. She's being questioned about the murder of an entire gang. Becky stays silent, unable to answer the questions because she's in shock over what happened. Then we flash back to the past. We see a group of prisoners fighting. One of them is the gang leader Dominic, who is being prepared to transfer to another prison along with his crew. Meanwhile, Becky is at school when she gets called over the intercom. She finds out her dad, Jeff, came to pick her up. She walks out to meet him without saying a word and gets in the car. They drive off together. At the same time, Dominic and his gang are loaded into a prison transport van, since they're considered extremely dangerous. While inside the van, Dominic tells one of his men to kill another inmate, and it becomes clear they're planning an escape. Dominic tricks the guards by pretending someone passed out, just to lure them into the van. Once they're in, the gang makes their move to escape. We then return to Becky, who's at the supermarket with her dad. She quietly smiles while no one notices. Then they see a breaking news story on TV about a gang that killed some cops and escaped. While Becky is walking around the store, she sees some kids playing with their moms, and it triggers a memory of her own mom, who died of cancer. She walks off alone and watches old videos of her and her mom. She's both happy and emotional, caught up in the memories. Later, she rides in the car with Jeff and is upset because he wants to sell their house and buy a new one. Becky is against it since the house holds all her memories with her mom. But when they arrive, Jeff tells her he changed his mind and won't sell it, he just wants to see her happy. Becky is thrilled and goes to play with her dogs, whom she named Tuda and Diego. Suddenly, Jeff's fiancée Kayla arrives to spend the holiday with them. We find out she's divorced and has a son. Becky doesn't like her at all. It's clear she resents her, probably because she doesn't want anyone taking her mom's place. Becky tells them she's going to the lake to be alone, then leaves. Meanwhile, Dominic, the gang leader, is now disguised as a police officer. He pulls over a man driving with his kids and asks for directions to a house near the lake. It turns out the house he's asking about is Jeff's. The man tells him where it is, and without warning, Dominic shoots and kills him. Then he orders his right-hand man, Mike, to kill the children. At that moment, Becky is having lunch with Jeff and Kayla. She's upset about their relationship. Jeff tells her he loves Kayla and plans to marry her soon. He asks Becky to move on from her mother and accept the new reality. This only upsets her more, and she walks away. Kayla offers to go talk to her, but Jeff interrupts, saying Becky is stubborn and hard to understand. Jeff goes after Becky and finds her crying. He tells her he loved her mother very much, but they need to let go of their grief and move forward. It's been almost a year since her mom passed, and they can't stay stuck in sadness forever. Becky ignores him, grabs her dog, and walks off. She heads to a small cabin in the woods where she and her mom used to spend time. She's overwhelmed with emotion and starts smashing everything inside. After a while, she calms down when she finds a drawing of her mom, and her dad. She remembers how happy they used to be together as a family, and now that it's all fallen apart, she's expected to just accept it. Back at the house, Dominic shows up and knocks on the door. Kayla opens it. Jeff comes to the door and asks what he wants. Dominic says he's looking for his lost dog. At the same time, Becky is still sitting alone, thinking about her mom. She holds onto a strange-looking key she found in the woods about a year ago, when her mom was still alive. Back to Dominic. His behavior seems suspicious, which makes Jeff uneasy. He opens the door to kick him out, but suddenly, Mike shows up and starts choking Jeff. Kayla panics and runs to call the police, but Mike chases her down, grabs her phone, and smashes it. She begs him not to kill her. When he sees her son, he hesitates, still affected by the kids he just killed, so he lets her go. Kayla escapes into the woods, trying to stay hidden from the gang. She tells her son they need to find someone to call the cops. Suddenly, 2 gang members appear and ask where she's going. She lies and says she's going to get Becky. One of them pulls a gun and asks who Becky is. Kayla tells him Becky is her dog. The thug gets nervous because he hates dogs. Suddenly, Becky's dog attacks them. One of the men shoots the dog and kills it. Becky witnesses everything from a distance and is heartbroken as she watches her dog die. When Diego, the other dog, hears the gunfire, he tries to run out, but Becky stops him and locks him inside the house. Then she heads out to check on her dad. After that, the gang members bring Kayla back to the house and ask Dominic why they heard gunshots. One of the guys tells him they killed Becky. Dominic asks, "Who's Becky?" Jeff starts to panic, thinking they killed his daughter, but Kayla quickly says Becky is their dog. Jeff calms down once he realizes what she meant. Dominic then heads down to the basement, clearly looking for something specific, something he came there for. Meanwhile, Becky is watching everything unfold. She climbs into her room through the window and searches for her phone to call the police, but she can't find it. So she grabs the walkie-talkie and sneaks out before the gang can catch her. Suddenly, Dominic enters her room and sees the window open. He realizes Becky is a girl, not a dog, like Kayla said. He goes back to Jeff, shows him Becky's phone, and asks where she is. Jeff lies and says she traveled to New York to visit her mom. Dominic tells them he's looking for a key that went missing in the woods about a year ago, and if he gets it back, he'll leave without hurting anyone. We learn that this is the same key Becky found in the woods. Jeff insists he doesn't know anything about the key. Dominic says he wants to talk to Becky because he knows she's still here, hiding. No way she'd leave her phone behind. Jeff keeps denying it, but Dominic doesn't believe him. He shoots Kayla in the leg and starts pressuring and provoking Jeff to get him to tell the truth. Suddenly, Becky talks to them through the walkie-talkie, saying she already called the cops and they're on the way. Dominic says she's lying since her phone is with him. Becky says she used her neighbor's phone to call the police. That makes Dominic realize she's bluffing, and if she ran, it must mean she has the key. He leaves the house and talks to her over the walkie-talkie, saying he's looking for something he lost in the woods a year ago. Without thinking, she says she doesn't have the key. Dominic replies that he never even mentioned a key. He was baiting her to see if she'd slip up. Now he knows for sure she has it, and if she doesn't hand it over, he'll kill her dad. When she doesn't respond, Dominic begins torturing Jeff even more violently. Then he forces Jeff to talk to Becky, hoping he'll convince her to bring the key. But to Dominic's surprise, Jeff tells his daughter to run. That pushes Dominic over the edge, and he keeps torturing him. Becky watches it all from a distance, horrified. She finally yells to them that she'll bring the key. She rushes to the small cabin in the woods, grabs the key, and heads back, hoping she can save her father. Meanwhile, Jeff fights the gang and escapes into the woods, but he's injured and can't run far. While trying to get away, he runs into Becky on the path. He tells her to run and call the cops. Suddenly, Dominic appears and shoots Jeff, killing him right in front of Becky. Becky screams at the top of her lungs, frozen in shock over her father's death. Dominic then goes to take the key from her, but without warning, she sees something shift in his eyes and takes off running. Dominic, now wounded, stumbles back to the house, yelling in pain. His gang is in shock that a young girl was able to do all this. He hands the walkie-talkie to one of his men and tells him to go after her and bring her back. Meanwhile, Becky is sitting alone in the woods, devastated. She's lost her father, she has no one left. That's when she decides to take revenge on the gang. Suddenly, one of them calls her through the walkie-talkie, but she bolts before he can figure out where she is. Unfortunately, he spots her and chases her all the way to the cabin in the woods. Becky locks the door behind her, and he follows her inside. But suddenly, he comes face to face with Diego, Becky's dog. Terrified of dogs, he slams the door shut. He tries to negotiate with Becky, saying he won't hurt her, and if she just gives him the key, he'll take it and leave her alone. Becky agrees, but deep down she's gathering her courage and planning to avenge her father. She picks up a wooden plank from the ground, climbs onto the roof of the cabin, and tosses a piece of metal down at him. Not noticing what it is, he assumes it's the key and goes to look for it. That's when Becky jumps down and attacks him with the plank, smashing it into his body. He tries to defend himself and pull the plank out, but Becky doesn't stop. She keeps hitting him until she finally kills him. After that, Becky goes back to the house and talks to her dog, Diego. She tells him she's going to take revenge on the gang, and they're going to pay for what they did. At that moment, Dominic is speaking with his assistant and hands him a gun, pointing it at him. He tells him that if he's not going to help him find the key, he might as well kill him now. That's because Mike had let Kayla escape earlier. Mike gets nervous and says he can't stop thinking about the kids they killed in the car. Dominic promises he won't kill anyone else, but in return, Mike has to help him get the key. Mike agrees. Suddenly, they hear a strange noise outside. When they go out to check, they see Becky has thrown them a walkie-talkie and tells them, "I'm the worst nightmare you'll ever face." Dominic gets furious and goes to Kayla, Jeff's fiancée, and asks her to talk to Becky and convince her to hand over the key. Kayla tells him Becky won't listen to her, she doesn't even like her. And to make matters worse, Becky had been getting therapy, has an aggressive personality, and is highly intelligent. Now that they've killed her father, she'll come for them, one by one. Meanwhile, Becky heads to the river and starts setting up a trap on the bridge. She removes a wooden plank and puts nails through it, planning to use it against the gang. At the same time, one of the gang members goes to the cabin in the woods to look for her. When he finds his friend dead, Becky appears and lures him toward the lake. He chases her but falls into the trap she set. She stabs him with the plank full of nails and pushes him into the water. He begs for help. He can't swim, but she ignores him. She gets in the boat, rows toward him, and then decapitates him. After that, she heads back into the woods and runs into Mike. She's scared he's going to kill her. But then Diego, her dog, shows up and jumps on him. Mike hits the dog on the head, knocking him out. Becky rushes over to check on the dog and sees that he's still alive. Mike tells her to come with him to Dominic. She fights back and bites his arm, trying to get away. He loses it, throws her to the ground, and starts hitting her hard in the chest. While doing that, he flashes back to the kids he killed. He tells her that what she's done, killing those gang members, will stay with her forever. That's why he's decided he won't help Dominic anymore. He's done with that life. He tells her not to kill anyone else, and just live her life like a normal kid. Then he leaves her and walks away. That night, Becky goes to her father's body, crying over his death. She takes the car keys from his pocket and heads back to the house to rescue Kayla and her son. At this point, the only one left from the gang is Dominic. Kayla tries to distract Dominic so Becky can sneak inside. She asks him about the key, why it's so important. He tells her it leads to a treasure worth millions, and that's why he's not giving it up. Suddenly, they hear the sound of Jeff's car. Dominic goes out to see what's going on. He opens the door and is shocked when the dog jumps out and bites his hand. Becky's in another car, speeding toward him, trying to run him over. She misses and crashes into a tree. The car's emergency system automatically calls the police after the crash. Becky quickly climbs out and rushes to the shed, looking for something to finish Dominic off before the cops arrive. She wants her revenge for what he did to her dad. Then she sits down in front of a fire, calmly singing like she's not afraid of anything. Dominic shows up and tells her he's impressed by her personality and her intelligence. He says now that she has no family, he's offering to adopt her and let her join the gang. She could have a real future in the world of crime. Of course, Becky refuses. She tells him she's not going to let him die easy. First, she's going to make him suffer. She pulls out a toy gun filled with gasoline, sprays it in front of the fire, and sets him on fire. He runs out screaming and chases her down. He eventually catches her and starts choking her. Then he sees the key hanging around her neck and takes it. He pulls out his gun, ready to finish her off. But right at that moment, Mike shows up and saves Becky. He begs Dominic to let her go and not kill her. Dominic refuses, and the two start fighting. Becky rushes to the shed, grabs a tractor, and drives it straight into Dominic, killing him for good. Mike apologizes to Becky for leaving her alone with Dominic, and says he hopes she can forgive him after he saved her. But Becky picks up the gun and kills him too. Now she's taken out every single member of the gang, on her own. She takes the key, sits by herself, and reflects on the fact that she has no father, no mother, she's all alone now. Kayla comes to check on her, and they hear police sirens coming from every direction. We return to the opening scene. Becky is sitting in the police station while detectives interrogate her. She tells them she doesn't remember anything that happened. The officers talk among themselves, saying there's no way an innocent little girl could have taken out an entire gang. Becky just sits there, calm, confident, with the key hanging around her neck. And that's how the movie ends. If you liked the film, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.